Joining us now, New York Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. Congresswoman, it's a pleasure having you back on.
Thank you. Great to be with you.
It's good to see you. We've got new breaking news information coming in. The FBI search warrant on the man charged with attempting to assassinate Justice Brett Kavanaugh at his home in Maryland. He was researching his alleged plot on the internet. He was talking to internet forum users about, quote, the quietest, most silent semi-auto rifle, Reagan assassination attempt, most effective place to stab somebody, assassin skills, assassin equipment. This is way more serious than maybe people realize.
Yeah, well, obviously it's very serious, and it is a shame that it took so long for Congress to act and make sure that we gave justices the protection that they need. Seriously, this obviously needs to be taken very seriously by the Department of Justice. We need to make sure that any threats against members of Congress, against members of the Supreme Court, are taken seriously. Look, the Democrats have emboldened people to act. That's the bottom line here. They have encouraged violence. They are releasing people back onto our streets, and they've created an environment where people feel like they can get away with this type of activity. And it is wrong. We need to hold not only those who make threats and commit crimes accountable, but we also need to have an investigation into the breach that started this whole thing.
Yeah, we haven't heard who leaked it.
No answers yet from Congress or any attempts to have a hearing here to get to the bottom of how
there is no way, and there is no way any party in the United States can succeed if they're thought to be normalizing violence. There's no way any political party succeeds. I mean, in just a week's time, you had an assault on New York Congressman Lee Zeldin and a vicious attack on a New York City police officer. Both were set free on no cash bail. You have that going on in New York, and you have homicide rates in America's 50 most populated cities up 18% since 2020. That's from Wallet Hub. They're predominantly Democrat-run cities, and the number of cases that are being solved and arrests made plummeting to about 50%. It was 90% in the 60s, Congresswoman.
Yeah, so look, 3/4 of New Yorkers are saying that public safety is the #1 issue for them. We've seen Democrats recently start to back away from the defund the police movement. But when it comes to the actual policies that are releasing individuals back onto our street, repeat offenders, like the ones that you've mentioned. We had somebody who was on the street in the Bronx who was charged with attempted murder 3 times, with the most recent being in July. That is outrageous that we're even allowing this to happen. And it's the governor who refuses to fix the bail laws, and it's the woke prosecutors who refuse to charge these criminals, and it's the lenient judges who, even when prosecutors are asking for people to be held, continue to release them onto the street.
Now Democrats in New York and Democrats in other states are saying to their governors and their legislators, what are you doing? What are you doing defunding cops when the border's collapsing? New York City Mayor Eric Adams, he's saying to the governor of New York, hold an emergency legislative session to stop what you're doing. She won't do it. So now Democrats are fighting, and I want you, Congresswoman, to weigh in on this. Let's listen to U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland talking about U.S. crime. Watch.
Look, I think violent crime is a matter of considerable concern to the country and to the Justice Department, as it should be.
You know, but Justice Department officials themselves call it a crisis or a crime wave. It's like the border is just a challenge. Is it just a matter of considerable concern that U.S. homicide rates rose to record levels not seen in generations, that people are murdered and cops assaulted by repeat felons let out of jail due to weak on crime policies and defunding police?
Yeah, look, you mentioned the open borders, and to give you a perfect example of how this policy coupled with the bail law has been a disaster for communities like mine. There was an arrest made in New York, $1.2 million of meth. These were Mexican cartel traffickers who were caught, and guess what? They were released back onto the street because of New York's bail laws. So that just shows you how it is a disaster, the policies of the Democrats on the federal level, coupled with what's happening in our states. And fentanyl is on the rise. 18 to 45-year-olds is a leading cause of death, and yet this administration is allowing it to happen.
Wow. Okay. Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's good to see you.